Mzansi. Once again, SABC One brings you Game On, brought to you by Hollywood Bets. I'm Caesar Mabena, proud to be a part of the team that brings you some exciting news, of course, coming out of the international break. Later on, we are happy to say James Kosana is well and able to, of course, join us as we break down the local game. But starting off, as we do always, with what's happening out in England with Shane McGregor. Shane, interesting times. The picture at the top is pretty much what you should expect looking at the last few seasons. Liverpool at top, not far behind Arsenal and City. But it's interesting going into the weekend because the big fixture this weekend is Liverpool against Chelsea. Chelsea currently tied on points, just 4 points behind the top with Aston Villa, the two surprise sides of this package. Your thoughts on this, a huge fixture that should have some entertainment at the very least?
Yeah, very entertaining, but when you say surprise teams, I didn't think there were surprise teams this year. Villa was last year.
Yeah, they maintained it this year.
Maintained it this year, which is a big thing, the players they brought in. But, you look back at these games and you see the players that have travelled all over the world basically to play international games and coming back, there's going to be a few injuries. We know the keeper's out injured for Liverpool. You've got to look at that on the overall aspect. And once the players come back from injury and come back from the tournament, from playing all over the world, tiredness, jet lag, so that's a big thing for these games. But at the end of the day, they're professional. They don't need much time to rest. They just need to get over it and move on. And this game's going to be a very interesting one. Liverpool obviously want to try and keep up their record against Chelsea, which is a good one, especially at home. So it'll be an interesting game.
Now, what's interesting, when you look at Liverpool over the last 5-6 years, there's certain players that over the years proved themselves irreplaceable. Mane was one of them once upon a time. Henderson was another. You can look at the central defender, the captain, as well as, of course, Becker, the goalkeeper. I think it's safe to put him in that group. Out for 6 weeks now. Is that a big plus for sides that are playing Liverpool?
Yes and no. They got a good understudy coming in, Keller. He's an international footballer. I watched a little bit of one of their games this week, and he made a huge howler, conceded a goal. But he's a good keeper. So, he has had time and he has played in some of the cup fixtures. He's had 1 or 2 in the league as well. So, you'll know what's expected of him. And, with a great defence, with a good defence in front of you, it always makes it easier. So, I think it's just carry on. Let's see where it takes us.
Can't talk Chelsea and how impressive they've been this season and leave out Aston Villa, whom we mentioned a little bit earlier. They kick off later this afternoon against Fulham. Your thoughts on that game?
Very difficult game. Fulham have been going very well. They've been a surprise team, Fulham, especially at home. It's always hard to go to Craven Cottage and get a result. It's a smaller field. It's a quaint little stadium. It's always difficult to get a result there. I just feel Villa, the way they play and the way they gain, will get something out of this. I actually think they'll get the result against Fulham, and even though it will be a hard game.
I have to ask you about Manchester United at home to Brentford. At some point, you have to get the feeling Ten Hag needs to start accumulating points consecutively in matches.
He needs to start winning games. On accumulated. He needs to start winning on a regular basis. And unfortunately for you and for the fans out there, I can't see it happening this week.
Not this week?
No, I think a draw's on the cards in this one. I really do think so. I'm surprised that he's still there. That's straightforward and honest. I am actually very surprised he's still there. I thought they would have done it in the international break and got rid of him. Didn't do it. Obviously given the opportunity. But, when you're bringing in, 37, 38-year-old to saw up your defence, then you're in trouble. I'm talking about, what's the big boy up at the back, then you're in trouble. So,
they brought in Evans last season.
Evans, that's what I'm talking about. So Evans, when you bring in a veteran, then something's wrong. I can't understand it. I think the draw's on the cards with Brentford.
Well, Arsenal, they return to go away for the late kickoff this evening against Bournemouth, who are at home. Your thoughts on this fixture?
Arsenal will be too good. Bournemouth are not a team that can beat Arsenal, I don't think. And what I like about Arsenal this season is they found ways to win games. Doesn't matter if it's ugly, doesn't matter if they just grind it out. They've been doing that. I can't see them not getting full points.
There's interesting games regarding teams at the top tomorrow. We've already discussed the Liverpool-Chelsea encounter. Wolves, I've seen the Wolves come off this season. They're at home to Manchester City.
And they always play well against Manchester City.
Yeah.
So that's the one good point for them. But I can't have Wolves at this stage until they turn it around, until they start showing me a bit of fight, showing me a bit of character. I can't see them beating
City. Do you think Wolves are one of those sides where this international break could have come at the right time in trying to turn things around?
It came at the right time for them. If any team, it came at the right time for them because you needed that to change it. That came at the right time. But whether it'll be enough when they come up against City, we all know about City. Look, Rodri's a huge loss, but the one team that didn't come at the right time was Everton. Everton were on a roll. The break came. Is it going to be good for them? Once again in that game, I think it'll be a draw.
Now, I have to ask you about Newcastle. Knowing nothing like the Newcastle of 2 seasons ago, where it looked as though they'd shake up the world and be amongst the top 4, what Aston Villa's doing now for consecutive seasons. Your thoughts on them against Brighton?
I think it draws on the cards. Brighton have started off fairly well. They've been a bit hot and cold of late. Newcastle, disappointing for me. They haven't spent money. They haven't brought new players in. I thought he would have done that, revitalise the squad, bring a couple of players in, and he hasn't done that. I mean, not that they're short of money. So I'm not too sure what the thinking is on there. I don't know what's going on. But I've been very disappointed in this season. As I say, I think it draws on the card in that one.
Well, we've spoken of Manchester United and the possible change for a manager. Do you think Newcastle are at the point where they're starting to consider, maybe not now, but long term, having to make that managerial change? Considering money and players coming in over the last couple of seasons.
Yeah, we don't know whether they've got the money. He's been given a chest to spend money. We don't know that. So if he has been and he hasn't done it, then I would be looking at it. But if you've been told that we don't want you to spend any money, we don't want any of that, then he's done a good job. So it's a catch-22 situation with that one. But he's got to watch his position there. I got to tell you, he's under a bit of pressure. So for me, if he has been given the money and he hasn't spent it, I'll be looking over my shoulder.
So it could be a couple of coaches already out in England that need to be watching their back, so to speak, with the way things are panning out at the bottom, in the middle of the table, including the race right at the top, which is rather interesting so far, which is 4 points separating the first 4 sides. We take a short break, come back, and look at what's going on locally with Jerry Squasan.